What is going on, guys? Welcome back to the Adventure Outpost. It's been a minute since we've seen each other. I know if you're noticing, we got a whole new background to look at. That's right, I moved into my new house. That's why I haven't seen any videos for the past couple of days or the past week or two or so. I can't even remember the last time I actually made one. And that is simply because I have been spending way too much time, all of my time, in fact, that I haven't been at work, getting into this new move, getting all my stuff into this new house, getting this house ready and furnished and all that stuff that I just haven't had the time or the energy or the willpower to make videos. But we're a little bit more laid back now. Most of the large stuff has been moved in. There is a bunch of stuff that we still have to be done, but I'm able to have a bit more free time now that I can start jumping back into doing some videos. I don't know how often I'm going to be dropping them, simply because there's just so much to be doing with my house and everything, with all this new move and all this stuff. So I'm going to try to make as many as I can, but I don't know how often I'm going to be out here to get them. But I'm going to try and do at least 1 or 2 a week for you guys. And of course, one of those has to be talking box office numbers, because boy golly, did it hurt not talking box office numbers for like 2 weeks. And what a weekend to return to. We are officially in the absolute dregs of the summer. Not only the summer, just the dregs and the lulls right now of our box office. We had a fucking awful weekend for the box office. This is the first weekend that we've had our #1 movie gross less than $10 million. Like, that is absolutely insane. And we're gonna go and we're gonna take a look into these charts in just a minute, but I just want to put a little in perspective for it. This is the lowest opening #1 movie we've had for the entirety of 2022. You have to go all the way back to February. I'm talking February 12th. Actually February 11th, 12th, and 13th, the weekend of the 11th, to get the last time had our lowest box office #1, which was Death on the Nile, with $12 million opening weekend. But even that movie was able to gross over $10 million. This is the first weekend we've had where we've had all of our movies make under $10 million. That is a wild thing. I had to do the math and go all the way back. We haven't hit this bad since we were in the height of our pandemic box office. You have to go all the way back to the weekend of May 21st to May 23rd of 2021 to find the last time that our #1 movie not only grossed under $10 million, but that all of our movies grossed under $10 million. And the big movie for that weekend was Spiral in its second week, pulling in $4.5 million from Lionsgate. And then you see here, we got the rest of the bunch in there. You got Wrath of Man making 2.9, Those Who Wish Me Dead making 1.9, Raya and the Last Dragon still putting up numbers after 12 weeks, 1.6. Far cry from Top Gun's week 12 performances these days. But you know, that's for when we were during the height of the pandemic, that was a pretty solid success there for Raya and the Last Dragon. And then rounding out the top 5, Godzilla vs. Kong with 1.5. Apropos of Godzilla vs. Kong to be on this one, when Godzilla vs. Kong had one show this past weekend at AMC theaters to give the hype out to the AMC apes. God, those apes. But so Godzilla didn't have the guts to make it into the top 10 for this weekend with that one show. I don't know how it did at other theaters. At my theater, it did more than I expected it to, so that's something. But funny that for the weekend that we had Godzilla vs. Kong for one show, you had to go all the way back to the last time Godzilla vs. Kong was also in theaters to have an under $10 million opening weekend. But let us dive now into the totals for this upcoming weekend, this weekend of August 26th to August 28th that we just went through. The #1 movie for the weekend was The Invitation with $7 million. Our highest grossing movie for the weekend, $7 million. It just goes to show that if the movies aren't out there, or you don't put in the product that people want to see, like, they're not going to come to the movies. And The Invitation was not a movie that I think a lot of people wanted to shell out $15 on a Friday, Saturday night to go and see. I feel like these movies might do or benefit from maybe a more reduced price. You get the bigger prices. They do the blockbuster pricing when you get those big event pictures like Doctor Strange and Thor and stuff like that. So why not go the opposite direction and do maybe a little reduced price for some of these these more low budget movies that you don't think are going to bring in that many people. The Invitation may have benefited from a situation like that. Bullet Train in second place in its fourth week drops 30.2% with a $5.6 million haul to bring its total to $78 million. It's slowing down. I don't know if it has that last little bit of legs to get to 100 million domestic. It remains to be seen. Hopefully it can keep chugging along and get itself there, but it's not looking too good. Beast taken in third in its second week, dropping 57.7%. It takes in $4.9 million to its total haul of $20 million. We've missed it the last few weeks, so we actually haven't even gotten to talk about Beast. $20 million, not great. I don't even know how much this movie cost to make, but I imagine it's probably enough that this isn't going to make its budget back, because that CGI lion, I'm sure, cost a pretty penny. I actually just got back from seeing this movie tonight too. Like besides not being able to talk about box office numbers, I haven't been able to go to the movies. It killed me. So I caught Beast today. Wild movie, exactly what I want out of that movie. I wanted schlock, I wanted nonsense. You gave me schlock, you gave me nonsense. I was entertained, riveted. You had me for the journey. It was completely enjoyable. Great movie. And it's a shame. I wish, creature features are always a good end of summer entertainment. I'm surprised that movie didn't do a little bit better. But again, it just goes to show most people probably don't want to shell out $15 on a Friday, Saturday night to go see a movie like that. Maybe a reduced price might have helped a situation like that, but I don't see a movie like that with the price tag that it cost ever actually doing a reduced price. For that, they would tell people, you know what, take advantage of your discounts. Go on your Tuesdays when AMC does its $6 movies, whatever deal Regal does if they do one, who knows? But it's a shame, because that movie should have done better, or at least I hoped it would do better, because that was a fun, enjoyable movie in my eyes. Love a good creature feature. Top Gun Maverick in its 14th week, dropping only 19.7%, takes in a total of $4.7 million, adding on to its total of $691 million fucking dollars. Absolutely goddamn absurd. It is less than $10 million away from taking the number 5 spot for the all-time domestic charts. It is closing in on Black Panther's 700. It's close. I think it's gonna do it. I think at this point it's pretty certain that it's gonna do it. Top Gun, it's a movie that's just not quitting, and especially with this upcoming weekend being Labor Day, this movie's gonna get it. Whether it gets it this upcoming weekend or the weekend after that, probably 2 weekends, because it seems from week to week it's still making anywhere from $4 to $7 million. So it's probably gonna take 2 weekends. But it's gonna get there. It's crazy. What a fucking performance. I just continue to be amazed and baffled by this movie. God bless the people at Paramount who made Top Gun Maverick a possibility. Rounding out our top 5, we have Dragon Ball Superhero in its second week, dropping, dear fucking Christ, 78.4%. That is atrocious. I think that might be one of the biggest drops from opening day weekend, where you were number 1 down to number 5 in its second week. That is not very great. It takes in a total of $4.5 million for its domestic total of $30 million. It's crazy that movie and Beast came out in the same week, and freaking Dragon Ball putting up $10 million more than it. Just goes to show that the power that anime has right now in the American audience. Young people or not even young people, really all people. You never really know who the anime fans out there are, and that's for sure. In my theater, people will be coming in that I wouldn't for a second think that they were here to see Dragon Ball, and they were seeing Dragon Ball. So it just goes to show you never really know who your anime fans are out there in the world. But they're there, and they're coming. Number 6, we've got DC League of Super Pets in its 5th week, dropping 25.7%, taking in $4.2 million for a domestic haul of $74 million. That's another one, much like Bullet Train. I don't know if it's going to have the legs to get to $100 million. This movie is not nearly doing as well as I thought it would. It's not doing, I'm sure, up to the expectations that Warner Brothers hoped for it. I don't think this movie, maybe 80, but even that seems freaking unlikely at this point. I don't see how much more this movie has left in the tank. We have another new movie in number 7. Never a great spot where you want to open up. And again, it's a shame because this is another movie. I saw this movie last night with my buddy. And it was a really enjoyable movie. It was fucking weird. It was trippy. It was funny. It took me on a roller coaster ride as only George Miller knows how to do. And it was a movie that I knew would struggle at the box office, and it shows right here where in an opening weekend with a domestic haul of $2.8 million. That is not great. I don't think that's going to cut the mustard. That I'm sure is going to end up being considered a box office bomb for them, simply because I'm pretty sure this had a nice hefty price tag considering some of the visual effects that had to go into this movie when the Djinn is telling his stories. But it's a wildly inventive movie. It's an enjoyable experience. If you have it playing at your theater, I highly recommend you going out and checking it out. In 8th place, we've got Minions: Rise of Gru in its 9th week, dropping 26.4%, taking in $2.7 million for a total domestic haul of $354 million. Minions hanging on, continuing to rack in some money. It's doing really well right now. That and Thor, which right in after it, Thor: Love and Thunder in its 8th week, dropping 33.6%, taking in 2.7 haul for $336 million domestic. Those two movies are just neck and neck right there. Thor trailing like just a smidge. It's super interesting to watch these two battle it out from week to week, and it'll be interesting to see where it all lies once the figures are totaled up and these two movies have left theaters. I think Minions is going to take it. I think it's going to stay edging out just ahead of it. I think this performance week to week just continues to show that Minions just ends up keeping that little distance of like 20 million ahead of it, and I think it's gonna hold on to it. What a wild performance. Did not see us here in this year thinking that you were going to get Thor behind Minions: Rise of Gru. But here we are, and it just goes to show you can never doubt what the box office is going to do. It's going to do some weird shit, and you're never going to expect what to expect. And then rounding us out at number 10, we've got Where the Crawdads Sing in its 7th week, dropping 27.4%, taking in $2.3 million for a total domestic haul of $81 million. Pretty solid for that movie. I don't know what the domestic haul, what the total box office cost was for this movie. But 81 for a movie like that really just kind of flew in under the radar and didn't really like get its time to shine with a bunch of other movies stacked in there. 81's pretty good. This movie's quietly making money. And that's a good thing. This one might, I don't know, it might actually hit the 100 of the ones that we've been talking about. This one seems like the only one that's got a fighting chance of still making to 100. I guess it depends on how many theaters it's still playing in right now domestically. I know my theater lost it a few weeks ago. I've seen some other ones on the island still have it, and God knows where else. So I guess we got to wait and see just how much juice is still left in this tank. Looking at the top 10 worldwide charts, still nothing has changed in position, but everything just continues to make a stonking load of money. We take a look in there. Top Gun Maverick now up to $1.422 billion fucking dollars. My God, what a haul. Number 2, Jurassic World Dominion is up to $990 million. Does it have the last $10 million in it to gross $1 billion and become only the 3rd movie since the pandemic to gross over $1 billion? It remains to be seen. Again, I don't know anywhere that movie's still playing, at least in my area. So who knows? Hopefully it does. $1 billion grosses always look good for the health of this box office. So hopefully it's got that last 10 in the tank there somewhere. Doctor Strange, I guess somewhere quietly as it was doing its final configurations, found like another few $1 million because now it's up to $955 million, still holding on in 3rd place. Minions: Rise of Gru coming in hot on its heels, $868 million. Right after that, we got the Batman, $770 million. Thor: Love and Thunder looking to take that place from them with $746. And then we got our next 4 ones, still with no change: Watergate Bridge, Fantastic Beasts, Sonic the Hedgehog 2, and Uncharted. Again, these 4 just slowly treading water until something comes to knock it off the boat and just sink it down to the bottom of the ocean. I guess we just have to wait and see what movie is finally going to do it. I don't see any of them doing it for any time now. I figure this is going to be our top 10 for the next couple of weeks. at least until October rolls around and we get a few more big movies that might have a chance of putting a dent in those. But if we stick and look just here in America at our top 10 domestic, we've got, rounding it out at number 1, Top Gun Maverick with $691 million. That is a top 10 domestic haul that I don't see any movie this year touching. Maybe Wakanda Forever, maybe Avatar, The Way of Water. But looking at both of those previous movies' performances, Top Gun Maverick already passed the first Avatar domestically and is closing in on Black Panther. So it is entirely possible that we end this year with Top Gun Maverick as our highest grossing domestic movie. I'm sure it's only got a few weeks before it passes Black Panther and takes that number 5 spot. So it remains to be seen if anything is going to take that movie out of number 1 this year, either in domestic or worldwide. But it's going to be a fun last half of the year watching and seeing if it happens. In number 2, we got Doctor Strange in the Multiverse of Madness with $411 million. We got Jurassic World Dominion taking third with $374. The Batman with $369. Minions Rise of Gru with $354. Thor Love and Thunder right behind it with $336. And then we take a nosedive off the cliff for our last 4. We got Sonic the Hedgehog 2 with $190 million. Uncharted with $148. Elvis slowly but surely coming up the ranks here. It's about to overtake Elvis. It's at $147. And somehow, even though it is a huge box office disappointment, Lightyear still somehow manages to find a way into the top 10 domestically for the year with $118 million. Enjoy it while you can, Lightyear, because your time on this chart, I'm sure, has a target on its back, and I'm sure it's only a matter of days or weeks or months, but surely before the end of the year, probably before Halloween, your time on this chart will be up. But that does it for us this week for charts. I don't gonna go too much into trying to find all these weird chart things to talk about, simply because I don't have so much time to do all this shit anymore. So I'm mostly just going to talk about the top 10 for this weekend that we're currently in, and then if there's any information tied to it from that week to look at. But for the most part, we're going to stick just currently to speaking about the weekend at hand, and then we're going to wrap that shit up, because I got shit to do, you got shit to do. There's just life out there to live, my friends. But until the next video, you have been you, I have been me. Go see a movie next weekend. It's Labor Day. I know you want to go out, party, have some burgers and dogs, but just go check out a flick. Nothing really good new comes out. I think there's Honk for Jesus, a movie that looks like a mockumentary about a pastor played by Sterling K. Brown and his parish. It does not look very good at all. I'm probably going to see it just because I go see everything, but it does not look very good. The big movie, though, that everybody should go see this weekend, which I am so excited to see, they are re-releasing Jaws in IMAX. So get your ass out there and go see a fucking classic, for God's sakes. And then all these other ones. If you haven't seen any movies that we've been talking about already that are in theaters and you still are on the fence about them, go check one of them out. It ain't going to hurt you. You're going to enjoy yourself. But that'll do it for all of us here at The Outpost. Until the next adventure, adventure on.